Dalton Maples here with head volleyball coach Sue Coffman. So how many years have you coached volleyball here at Andover High School?
This is my 23rd year, so I've been here for a while.
And in your 23 years, what have you learned that's made you a successful coach?
I would say that it's really important that you can get kids to believe in your program, whatever your philosophy might be. And you know, one of the challenges of coaching in high school is you take the kids that walk through the door. You don't get to go out and hand pick everybody that you want. So it becomes very important to get them all on the same page, believing in your program.
What drew you to wanting to coach volleyball? Did you play in high school or college?
Both. I played in, I started in high school back in the day when sports weren't quite what they are today. And I played both volleyball and basketball in college. And when I was done, I felt like it did so much for me that I wanted to stay involved. And that was a way to stay involved, was to coach.
In your many years, do you keep contact with your former players that go on and play in college or go on their future careers?
You know, yes I have. And one of the best ways to do it is through Facebook. When I started a Facebook account to keep track of my brothers and sisters because they're all over the country. And next thing I know is I had some former volleyball players and athletes that I coached, even from my very first job in Western Kansas. All of a sudden, you know, they were my friends, and now I've been able to keep track of their lives and what's going on. So it's been really kind of cool.
And what would you say is the most difficult part of coaching volleyball?
You know, I thought about that a lot. I think it's when you have down years and things aren't going the way that you want to try to continue to get kids to believe in themselves and believe that they can turn things around is a tough challenge.
Mm-hmm. On the other hand, what would you call the most gratifying part of your job?
Two things. Number one is the relationships you form with students. When you're outside the classroom and you get to work with students, it's a different kind of relationship than when it's a teacher-student. You get to know them a little bit better. You get to understand their personalities a little bit more. So that's one. And the second is to watch them improve and perform. When those girls are out playing well, there is nothing like sitting there watching them and think that you had a little part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty exciting.
And after last season's success and only losing one player, what are your expectations for this year?
Extremely high. We plan on going to the state tournament and winning as many games as possible. I'd like to say we could win them all, but 5A volleyball is very, very challenging in Kansas. And but I think they're capable of that if they have the right mental attitude. This is a really special bunch of kids that are very talented. They're good friends. They get along well. Not very often in high school do you get to have the same team back-to-back 2 years in a row. Usually you're losing several seniors and then you're bringing in somebody new, and it's always that kind of turnover. And so to have the same group for 2 years in a row is pretty special.
And with that, with your coach being a close-knit team, how does that help you during the season when you have some hard times and lows and highs?
I think it helps this group because I think they're all on the same page. They're going to have days when they don't get along and get snippy with each other because it's almost like a family when you spend that kind of time together. But I think they will be able to overcome that easier than they would if they weren't friends. And I think that they have the same goals. A lot of times you have seniors who know it's their last year in school and it really means a lot to them to be successful. But for sophomores and juniors, it's like, hey, they know they're coming back next year or maybe for 2 more years. And they don't have quite the same goals, but this group does. They're all on the same page. And I think it helps because they all want to work hard at practice. Nobody comes in and wants to mess around because it's not that important to them.
And with having 4 seniors this year, do you see those girls stepping up into the leadership roles that they've grown to accustomed to now since their 4th year playing?
They have, and they already have demonstrated that. They've been to practice on time. They work hard. They encourage other kids. Some are more vocal than others, but I think that they are leaders in the way they work and setting that example for everybody else. It just comes across how important it is to them.
What have the girls done since the end of last season through the off season to get better this year?
You know what? They've either played on a club volleyball team or they've played on basketball and soccer teams. They've had personal training sessions. They've been in the weight room. They did some open gym. We played in a summer league. This year, Capon ran a summer league, never has before. So they did a lot. They have all come back in this year better than they left last year.
And what strategy do you use when making a starting lineup for your matches?
You kind of have to look at the whole picture. You have to look at the roles. You know, you obviously have to have a good setter and good hitters, but you also have to have really good passers, because it doesn't make any difference how good your hitters are. If you can't get the ball to them, they're not going to be successful. So I think you look at the whole picture, and you want kids that are going to work hard. You want kids that are dedicated. This year they have all of those qualities.
And lastly, getting fans to the matches will be very important this year. What should the fans expect when they come to all the matches this year? What should they just enjoy?
You know, I think that volleyball's gotten a lot faster over the years. You see power plays, you see great saves, you see people stepping outside that box and, you know, running for a ball that nobody thinks they can get, and they bring it back in. And I think for people who have never watched, it's a lot more exciting than they expect it to be. You know, sometimes people think it's like when they play in a PE class or in the backyard and the ball just goes back and forth, but it's really not like that. There's a lot of strategy involved, and I think this group's going to be really fun to watch.
Well, thank you for your time, Coach Coffman. I wish you the best of luck this year.
Thank you.